Hi everybody, you were looking at the 2022 Nissan Pathfinder SL. This is the 5th generation of the Pathfinder model, and it has been out since 1987, meaning it's also in its 35th year. This particular Pathfinder is in one of 5 two-tone paint options. So we've got solid gray down low, this stuff right here, and then what they call super black metallic up top, which matches lovely with these super black roof rails as well. Of course, this paint is on a brand new body, which is more squared off, more rugged. The 4th generation Pathfinder was definitely more rounded, a little bit more bulbous than this one. So this one gives just that like stronger creases in the body line. You can see it right here with this detail running just past the headlights. And the front fascia definitely has in-your-face, rugged kind of appeal. Now, the front grille, it is the Nissan trademark V-Motion grille right there. But then the Pathfinder specifically gets something called a 3-notch grille. And that is a nod to the 1st generation Pathfinder that came out in 1987. You do have fog lights way down here, and the headlights here, they are C-shaped. There it is, C. You got a little bit of body coloring right here, and those are LED headlights as well. This being an SL Pathfinder, that makes it the 2nd highest available trim. It's above the S and the SV models, but beneath the top of the line Platinum. But this particular car also has the $2,900 SL Premium package. And on the outside, you can tell because it has 20-inch wheels instead of 18s, and the towing package. And the towing package means that you can tow 6,000 pounds instead of 3,500, which is a darn healthy amount. However, even though this is a new 5th generation model, the engine itself is carryover. It is the 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6, and let's take a look at it. Now, I could actually just start the engine from the key fob right here because I've got the remote engine start, but we'll go ahead and get in the car and start it. Push button start. That is a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6, and it makes 284 horsepower and 259 pound-feet of torque, just like the 2020 Pathfinder did. Oh, and by the way, there was no 2021 Pathfinder. It went 2020, and now they're skipping right to the 2022 model year. Even though this is a carryover engine, it's not a carryover powertrain because Nissan installed a brand new 9-speed automatic transmission to replace a CVT transmission, and I'm looking forward to showing you what it's like on the drive, but spoiler alert, it's an improvement. As you can see, this is a transversely mounted engine, and it revs like this. And the fact that it's a transversely mounted engine does indicate that this is a front-wheel drive layout car, and indeed, this particular Pathfinder is front-wheel drive. However, Nissan does offer all-wheel drive versions of the Pathfinder for every one of the 4 trim levels. From a chassis point of view, Nissan did stick with the same basic suspension layout. So we have a strut suspension up front here and a multi-link suspension back here. And it is, by the way, unit construction. It is not body on frame. But they did do a lot of work to the geometry, and they've increased the roll stiffness in both the front and rear axles. And that means that this car is going to have better body control and a more composed ride. And it's going to be a more composed ride in a generally nice looking 3-row SUV. This thing is over 197 inches long, 197.7 inches long, but the nice squared off look and the nice fat C-pillar here coming up and the roof rails, you know, you got this nice roof mounted spoiler for all that needed downforce. You know, it's a good looking car, and I hope you're proud that it's a Pathfinder because Nissan tells you it's a Pathfinder in no uncertain terms right here. And in addition to that, it's also baked into the lower plastic right here. So in case you're a forgetful person, the Nissan Pathfinder is a good SUV to have because it reminds you in several places. And what it's going to cost to get a Pathfinder is going to start at $34,585 for a two-wheel drive Pathfinder S. The SL that you're looking at right here starts at $40,790. Because I have the premium package and also one other small option, it's $43,920. And if you go all the way up to the top of the line, a Nissan Pathfinder Platinum with all-wheel drive, that's going to cost $49,265. Now, I do have more details in terms of specs in the description, but for now, let's look inside the car. All right, we will go from back to front. All right, it's a Pathfinder. Okay, this being an SL, we do have the power liftgate. The power liftgate comes on the SV Premium Package and up Pathfinder models. But if you get a Platinum Pathfinder, you get a motion activated liftgate that has position memory. So if you don't want it to open all the way, you can actually tell it to open, say, 3/4 of the way instead if you have, like, say, a low garage or something like that. But, you know, you do get these buttons right here so you can close it again and lock it as well if you'd like. Looking inside, you get 17 cubic feet of cargo space behind the third row here. And right now the headrests are folded flat. That's easy to adjust up and then pull it back down. But you also get 54 quarts of storage space, and it's separated into thirds down here beneath the floor. So it's nice extra storage, and you can see it's hard plastic, so a little bit easier to clean. But if you don't have to carry 7 or 8 passengers and you need more storage space, that's easy to do. Just grab this flap right here, push it down, and now just like that you have 45 cubic feet of cargo space. Also, this is a good spot to show you, you do have some extra power right there, nice little first aid kit, and there's some hooks to hold things in place down here. To adjust the second row, go to the back door, and you've got a couple of different button options here. Now, this is a good point to tell you that we have the second row captain's chairs, and that is part of the SL Premium package and standard on the Pathfinder Platinum. But that means this particular Pathfinder seats 7, not 8. Anyway, fold this down like this, and now you have 81 cubic feet of storage and room for 2 passengers. Now, in addition to that, Nissan claims that this is more than 4 feet wide. I'm gonna go ahead and get a measuring tape and see if that's true or not. Okay, this looks like the narrowest spot is right here, right by the seat belts. That is just under 45.5 inches with the measuring tape length as well. And the measuring tape is just around 3.5 inches. So that means that this is 49 inches wide, side to side. So it is indeed more than 4 feet wide. So you could lay a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet of plywood flat in here, but could you close the tailgate? Let's find out right now. So I currently have the front seat at my comfort level, 85 inches. It's nice to know that you have more than 7 feet of length in this cargo area and more than 4 feet of width. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put the second and third rows back up and tell you what the comfort's like. Getting into the third row is easy. Got these little push buttons right here, and it automatically moves it forward, and then you can slide it farther forward from there. But before I even get in, you can tell that this is designed for kids, especially that middle seat right there, but the seat bottom's awfully low. You do get cup holders down here, and if you're on the other side, there is USB power right there. So for your kids, there are some nice creature comforts in here. And if they're small kids, there might even be comfortable room for 3 of them. Because we have the second row captain seats, we have much more comfortable chairs to work with here. Nice and wide with a nice center console right here as well. And here are your buttons for the 3-zone climate control as well. And if you get this car properly equipped, you can get heated seats back here as well. So plenty of space. The seat bottoms are nice and high, so I have good thigh support. I have good leg room, plenty of leg room right here. I have good headroom as well. The center console, it's a nice little thing, but it is also removable. You can remove this panel right here, this little plastic cover comes off. And then once you do that, there's a lever here, and that lifts it, and it's, you know, weighs a few pounds and it's easy enough to remove. And then you have a nice low flat floor if you need a little bit more storage or want a center walk-through to the third row. The second row do get cup holders as well. Nice little storage space. Lower, you could call that a bottle holder, and side window shades as well, which is nice to block the sun. In front, you've got the usual things here. Nice two-tone materials here, power windows, power folding mirrors, power locks right here, those kinds of things. If you got the Platinum model, you would also have seat memory. You do have good front seat adjustment, fore, aft, seat back, and lumbar support right there. Okay, now that we're in front, I can show you the rest of what the SL Premium package gets you. So in addition to the second row captain's chairs, you get a panoramic moonroof, as well as a Bose sound system with 13 speakers, including those two right there and across over there. And you get a wireless smartphone charging pad down here. You get two real gauges, tachometer, speedometer right here, and a 7-inch screen in the middle. If you got the Platinum model, this whole thing would be a screen. It would be a 12.3-inch digital dashboard, and on top of that, you'd also have a 10.8-inch heads-up display that you could see right here. This being the SL, we don't have that, and honestly, that's okay. I really prefer real gauges. I don't know why, maybe I'm just old. SV models and up get heated seats, but because we're in an SL, we get a heated steering wheel as well. Now, if we were in a Pathfinder Platinum, we would get heated and ventilated seats to go along with the heated seats and steering wheel. Up here, this is a 9-inch center console touchscreen. This is an SL and up thing to go 9 inches. The S and the SV have an 8-inch screen. So all models come standard with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. However, because this is SL, SLs and up get wireless Apple CarPlay. Now, all Android Auto is wired, but wireless Apple CarPlay is available on the SL models and up. More generally speaking, you can see we have our Prindle right here. It's a pretty compact design. Park is right here, and then you have this switch right here. Move it up to get into reverse, move it down to get into drive. You see D/M. You do have paddle shifters, positive, negative right there, and you also have an electric park brake, and this is how to turn off the auto engine start stop. And here is where we go to adjust our drive modes. I'll talk about those more in a minute. Cup holders, spot for stuff, and a nice deep lower center console storage here as well. And in case you forgot, it is indeed a Pathfinder. Looking at the steering wheel, we have lots of controls right here. Now, because this is an SL, we have ProPilot Assist with Navilink. Now, SVs and up do get what Nissan calls intelligence cruise control, which is effectively adaptive cruise control, but going SL means it gets tied to the navigation. So that means that it will do a little bit more, like slow down when you're coming up on an exit and adjust when it sees curves in the interstate, those types of things. You also have controls for the infotainment system, volume knob, etc., etc. But thankfully, you also get a real volume knob and a real tune knob as well. Separate from ProPilot Assist, all Pathfinders come standard with what Nissan calls Safety Shield 360, which is like the usual assist systems that are in a lot of cars these days. Blind spot warning, lane departure warning, automatic high beams, and automatic emergency braking, that kind of stuff. So those kinds of things are standard and part of Safety Shield 360. ProPilot Assist is the intelligent or adaptive cruise control, and that's a separate system. Anyway, that was a lot to unpack, but I think it's time to go for a drive. Hi everybody. Well, here I am driving the 5th generation 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. And it's very enjoyable in here, but definitely like any other Nissan SUV that's coming out these days, you can tell it's not catered towards the enthusiasts. This is pure consumer goods right here. And that's not a bad thing. This is a good SUV that has a lot of things to offer. 6,000 pounds towing capacity, a lot of room inside here. It's nearly 78 inches wide, and even though it's a carryover 3.5 liter V6, there's a lot of updates to the powertrain as well. So to start things off, let's do a quick acceleration test and then talk more about it. Quickly slowing down. A little bit of brake torque. Now off we go. Good pull. 284 horsepower, 259 pound-feet of torque. You could hear the front tires barking. As I said, this is a front-wheel drive SUV, so plenty of torque to overwhelm the front axle. Admittedly, the 3.5 liter V6 is not the smoothest V6 out there. It does sound just a little bit coarse if you get into the upper rev ranges, especially if you put this thing under load. However, it is plenty competitive. And it's actually almost novel that we have a naturally aspirated, decently big 3.5 liters of displacement V6. And as a result, you've got very consistent and linear power delivery, which is really nice. What is new about this powertrain is the 9-speed automatic transmission. As I said before, the CVT is gone, and from every point of view, that is a welcome change. First of all, there's that kind of like peace of mind knowing that you've got real metal gears messing against each other, especially if you're towing something, especially if you start approaching that 6,000 pound towing limit. But also you just get more immediate, more direct engagement with a real automatic transmission. Modern torque converters lock up nice and quickly and early, and gear changes at speed are just bang, 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 just a couple hundred milliseconds and you're off, smooth, no weird surges, no weird inconsistency in engine noise and vehicle speed. It just works better, and modern automatic transmissions are so efficient, 9 speeds, that the advantages of a CVT are waning. Speaking of efficiency, the fuel economy on the Nissan Pathfinder, considering its size, is right around where you'd expect. 21 miles to the gallon in the city, 26 miles to the gallon on the highway, 23 combined. Now, ironically enough, the four-wheel drive version, the all-wheel drive version of the Pathfinder, actually does a little bit better on the highway, 27 miles per gallon. I can only presume that there's something with the all-wheel drive system that gives you slightly different gearing so that you have a lower engine speed while cruising on the highway. Either way, going from 26 to 27 miles per gallon on the highway does not change things that much. It's the same 23 miles combined, and it's the same 21 miles per gallon on the city, so it's a small change. Also, speaking of small changes, the Platinum version of the Pathfinder, because it's a little bit heavier, it actually does a little bit worse for fuel economy. And I'll put all the numbers up on the screen right now so you can look at them briefly. And as I showed you when we looked inside the car, we do get drive modes in the Pathfinder. You get 5 drive modes when you have the front wheel drive Pathfinder, and they are Tow, Standard, Sport, Eco, and Snow. So these are powertrain adjustments. It's going to change the way the transmission shifts, change the throttle map, those types of things. This does not have an adjustable suspension, so don't expect any radical changes in the way the car feels. But it's nice to know that they're there if you want to make slight adjustments. Also, if you get the four-wheel drive version of this, you actually get 2 additional drive modes. You get Sand and Mud and Ruts, which is the obvious suggestion that the four-wheel drive system is going to give you a few more options in terms of what terrain you want to try to tackle in your Pathfinder. Okay, moving on from the powertrain, the rest of the chassis, works pretty well. As I mentioned when we walked around the car, Nissan put a lot of work into the suspension. They didn't change the geometry. You still have struts and a multi-link suspension, but they worked hard to increase the roll stiffness on both the front and the rear axle. Now, it's not like this Pathfinder is a handler, but if you throw it into a corner, the body leans, of course, but it's not excessive, is the point. It feels controlled at all points, and that just gives you just a little bit more confidence in the car's behavior. Now, good body control has not done anything to hurt the ride. It's got a perfectly reasonable ride, goes over bumps nicely, feels smooth going down the road, and the seats as well are nice and comfortable. I don't have a lot of lateral support here. There's not big bolsters in the seats or anything like that, but there's plenty of cushioning, plenty of padding, and having the adjustable lumbar support is always nice to keep you feeling supported in the car as well for longer road trips. But as I said at the beginning, this is definitely not for the enthusiast. It's totally competent at what it does. It's just not engaging. The steering's really light. It's not too terribly precise. If you find yourself on a curvy road with your family, those types of situations, it's not going to be uncomfortable. It's just not going to be enjoyable. But again, we're talking about a more than 2-ton, 3-row SUV that seats up to 8 people, 7 people with captain's chairs. This is not your first choice to go on a Sunday drive. The only point is that if you really are a die-hard enthusiast and you want to enjoy what you're driving as much as possible, no matter what car you're in, there are 3-row SUVs out there that just put a little bit more emphasis on the enjoyment of the driver. But there are a lot of positives that this Pathfinder brings to the table. It's quiet inside, it's plenty spacious inside, you've got 10 more cubic feet than you did in the 4th generation Pathfinder. You've got a lot of gadgets to help occupy people in the car, and you have a lot of safety as well. This Pathfinder has 10 airbags inside, and if you get the Platinum model, it has an 11th airbag that pops up in between the 2 front passengers. So you're really well protected. And that's in addition to the Safety Shield 360 stuff I told you about, as well as the ProPilot Assist. Okay, I wanted to do a quick demonstration of ProPilot Assist. So I am getting on the interstate and I'm going to turn it on. Now, Nissan calls this a hands-on intelligent cruise control system, but it does help with steering, even though they don't want you to take your hands off the wheel. So this helps with steering, and it also helps with speed adjustments in corners and things like that. So let's go ahead and turn this thing on. Okay, I am currently set to 72 miles an hour, and the car is absolutely steering for me. If I take my hands off the wheel, you can see that. And I'll go ahead and increase it to 75 miles an hour. Okay, a little detection about blind spot. It is doing some steering for me, showing me centered in the lane. My hands are off the wheel, but I'm staying centered in the lane. And we've got a slight right curve coming up, and it is holding, but it's saying, warning, put your hands on the wheel. So my hands are back on the wheel. And I'll go ahead and I'll get off at this exit here that's coming up. And also, while we are on the interstate, you can see that wind noise was nice and isolated. Road noise was a tiny touch on the loud side, but really not bad. Yeah, generally a pleasant experience. ProPilot Assist with Navilink. So it ticks a lot of the boxes that consumers are looking for. It just doesn't have that extra level of engagement that enthusiasts like us look for. But that said, this is a noticeable improvement over the 4th generation. And if you like the styling, that means that this Pathfinder makes a pretty strong case for itself, especially if you have a family. Especially if you have a family with a lot of stuff. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you for watching. And if you are still watching, I'd really appreciate it if you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Those things really help me out. Okay, goodbye.